Hey, so there is a few things that have popped up recently when it comes to installing capsules, and I want to go over a couple of these little tricks and tips or insights when it comes to installing capsules just to make the install go a little bit easier for you. So you just received your box of capsules, and now you're pulling them out. You're excited to see these things, making sure that they arrive safely and they're all good, but you notice that there is scuffs and scratches on them. That is 100% normal to see some scuffing, some sanding, some orbital sanding marks. That is perfectly fine. These capsules are handmade, they're hand laid, they're sprayed out of a chop gun, but then they're all hand laid after that. The mat's put in there, the resin's done by hand, they're gel coated by hand, everything. So human error can happen. So after they're all said and done, they're body working them, making sure that they are as close to paint ready as possible to save the most amount of time. So when you bring the capsules to the paint shop, they don't have to do a lot of prep work. They scuff them, they primer them, and they shoot them. So don't be afraid that you got messed up capsules. They are perfectly fine. So definitely, step number one, before you move anywhere farther forward with your capsule install, is dry fitting the capsule when you get it from us at Vanmart or Vanspeed. Take the capsules out of the box, make sure they're not damaged, you have no cracks, UPS didn't beat them up or anything, and you can put some blue tape on the backside so you don't scratch your van at all, but have someone help you hold the capsule up on both sides of your van to make sure, first of all, you got the right capsules, and that the capsule fits the contours of your van correctly. There is gonna always be that little gap right here, like up to a 1/4 inch on the leading edges. That's perfectly fine, that's perfectly normal, but we wanna make sure everything else is correct and the fitting is good and everything's just right before you move forward with whether you're painting, wrapping, rhino lining, whatever it is, or you just cut the massive hole in the side of your van and now you're stuck putting plastic over it or something like that because something's not right. We want the urethane to have a buffer, you know, a 1/4 inch buffer of urethane, just like how your windshield's sitting on your car. It's not sitting on the metal of your car, it's sitting on the urethane to act as a isolator from the metal to the glass. And in this case, the metal side of your van to the capsule. So when this is on there and you're all said and done and you have it and you're looking at it and you notice that you have like a 1/4 inch gap on the leading edges, the front or the rear, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly normal. You have a 1/2 inch tall urethane mohawk that is squashed down a 1/4 inch and it's gonna seal up the whole entire capsule. It's perfectly fine to have that gap there. All of our vans here have it. We install a lot of these things and they always have that gap and it's there by design. So what you're gonna need when you go to do your install is gonna be like little clamps like this. These are super cheap. You can be had at like Harbor Freight or Depot or whatever. If you have these, that's even better. I call these urban clamps or whatever you want to call them, ratcheting clamps. I would want like at least 4. If you have 6, that'd be great. So you could have 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and then 1 on each side to hold the capsule on once you go to put it on. Obviously, we have our urethane. It's primerless urethane, so you do not need to use urethane primer. If you have urethane primer, that's cool. Go ahead and put it on the capsule and put it on your van. It's only gonna help promote a little bit more adhesion. When you go to apply the urethane, okay? The tips used to come with a notch in them and like a little like finger thing hung off, and it was perfect for a guide and to get you that perfect mohawk. I've noticed recently the Sikaflexes is not coming with that notched tip. So what you're gonna wanna do when you get this is take a blade and you're gonna wanna cut a notch in there. So lop off the tip of the plastic tip here and then cut a notch in it, a V shape. We want a mohawk to be about a 1/2 inch tall, and you want it to mohawk this way, not the thin point on the bottom, but we want it to come off the flange in a mohawk shape. And that leads to the bolts. Okay, so these bolts that are holding on the capsules, you're gonna get 6. That is not meant to put all 6 in one capsule. On the driver's side, you can really only access the 2 top ones. And we're not reefing these things down. This is just so you have a mechanical fastener so you could drive your van that night. The clamps is gonna do a lot of the holding too. On the passenger side, when you put the 4 screws, again, you don't need to tighten these things down until the fiberglass touches the tin of your van. Another part that can be confusing is the placement of the urethane. Does it go towards the inside? Does it go towards the outside? Where it needs to go is basically down the middle. So what can happen is when you go to drill the holes for the screws, if your screw is either in the middle of your urethane bead or on the outside of the urethane bead, you just made an intrusion point for water. So by keeping that urethane bead right in the middle, you're not going to squash out towards your van, and you're also not going to drill a hole right through it when you go to use the hardware to clamp it to your van. So try to keep it right in the middle. Still, when you go to press it up onto the side of your van, have some denatured alcohol or something on a wipe ready to go, because a little bit might squish out the side. So be ready to clean it up if that does happen. So that's all we're really trying to do, is make sure you do not split your urethane bead with the hardware. After you have the big hole cut out in the side of your van and your capsules on there clamped and you're drilling holes, you're gonna notice that the fiberglass actually hangs up higher than that cutout. It almost seems like you cut too much metal off. You didn't cut too much metal off. It's perfectly fine. Where the hardware should land when you drill it should be right on the edge of the fiberglass. It is gonna be literally right there. It will almost eclipse the edge of the fiberglass. It needs to be right there, because remember, we just put that urethane bead right down the middle right there. The hardware should not be here. It's not gonna be here, obviously, but it needs to be right on the edge. Your bolts that are gonna go through here are gonna be right on the edge. They're gonna be right there. They need to be on this little bumped out area, whether this is a Ford Transit, a Sprinter, whatever. They need to be right on the edge. And that is so we do not drill a hole straight through our urethane bead, now allowing water to make its way in between the capsule and the van. So very important that they land right there on all the spots of where the capsules are being bolted. Once your capsule's installed and you're going to put your 1033 window into the hole, I highly recommend taking an 1/8 inch drill bit and using the clamping ring as a template to pre-drill the holes of where the self-tapping screws are going to go. None of the window manufacturers really recommend that, but trying to dry those self-tappers into the window frame, it's difficult. It's easy to strip them out. Sometimes it's hard to get the ring to fully bottom out, and we really need to suck that window in as tight as we can so we can utilize the little foam seal that's around there. And remember, after you drill it out and it's sitting up inside there and you're having someone hold it and you're tightening the screws there, make sure you do that in a cross pattern always. So don't do the whole top and around it. Do the corner, not super snug, just semi-tight. Go to this corner and vice versa, and do it in a star cross pattern, and then go through at the very end and snug them all down nice and tight. And also, before you move on to anything at all inside, do a very good water test once you get these windows in there. Have somebody from the outside spray it with a hose. You sit inside your van and watch, make sure no water's making its way around the window or anywhere else for that matter. And if you are getting water coming in from around your window, loosen the screws back up and shift it around a little bit. There is a good amount of tolerance around the window for you to get it nice and centered. So possibly you have it just kind of slammed down right there, and the seal on top isn't getting a good seal right there. So just shift it around, make it nice and centered, and then fully tighten it back up and test again. You shouldn't have any water leaks after that. If you have any other questions in regards to installing your capsules or any other Vanspeed products, please feel free to reach out to info@thevanmart.com or call us directly. You can ask for me, Brent, and I will help you out best I possibly can.